And we are back. Hope you enjoyed those duct tapes. I certainly did. The ones in my head that I was remembering back to. We are now finished with our initial couple of matches. We have finished the winners match as well. We are now getting into the elimination match coming down between MaNa and DRG. Another PVZ on our hands. Let's see if this plays out in a similar fashion.
Oh, exactly. So this is where one player gets eliminated from this group in last place. The other will have a chance to face off against Estrella in that decider match, as he will be patiently waiting for the winner of this series.
Yeah, with patience.
Maybe. God, I miss patience so much. Feels bad, man. Feels bad.
The real face of Protoss.
True. The real face of Protoss. You know, back when patience was around, you couldn't hate Protoss because look at that beautiful face.
Oh.
Oh my god. But here we go. We are loading on in to our fresh best of 3 series between the one true Dong and MaNa.
Yeah, the one true Dong versus the banana. Let's get into it. And in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have our red Protoss player coming down from the land of Poland, the standard bearer of Poland. Oh, rip Indy. He's going to be representing Team Liquid. Everybody get your bananas ready. It is MaNa.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing, at the time, was representing Team NV. It is DongRaeGu. If you recall, not necessarily the Team NV, but like the clan
Yeah,
NV.
the clan.
Yeah.
Oh. Still represented with the jersey. I believe Bunny did the same, and Jinyo as well.
Yeah.
Flew down to support his boys.
Yeah, it was really cool to see them support their team. A team that did the best they could to support StarCraft for as long as they did, and now we're getting into this series. The reason why I laughed is because typically like J-Dong and like Dongs in general, when it comes to like fan signs and stuff, like they're associated with apes, like with
Yep.
So the image of the ape going up against the banana is amazing.
The banana fights back.
Oh god. Not like this, puppy. Not like
Gonna make the ape slip.
Oh god. So
I just have the image of like Mario Kart with Donkey Kong.
Pretty much
on the banana peel.
Pretty much, mate. Pretty much. But we'll see kind of how this all comes to fruition here. Personally, I love to cast more DongRaeGu. It's always such a shame, or it was such a shame that we didn't really get to see much of him last time. Scarlet just kind of took him out before he could even play some StarCraft, you know?
Well, how much of that was Scarlet taking him out before he could play StarCraft, and how much of that was DongRaeGu taking himself out?
True. He was trying to be cheeky, he was trying to be cheesy, and he was punished for it in that ZvZ. But here in this ZvP, we see anything but. We see pretty standard openers, hatch, gas, pool, third base on time as well. DongRaeGu is doing everything as Zergs should in this match.
Yeah. I guess it's a sign that DongRaeGu, or DRG, sorry, perhaps is feeling a bit more confident in this matchup, or at least a bit more confident going up against MaNa, that he doesn't feel the need to do anything too cheeky. This is still the first game in our best of 3 series. I wouldn't be surprised, if this goes all the way to the ace. DRG decides to pull off something a little bit more sneaky, a little bit more taxi and German-like.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that, but we see that MaNa is already diverting from the norm. Did go for a Stargate opener, but is instead going for a Void Ray first. This is designed, of course, to try and keep your opponent in the dark, to keep them guessing, to keep them wondering what exactly the Protoss is doing.
Which could really be anything from a vast number of builds, but for now we do see that MaNa is following up his Void Ray with an Oracle. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one or even two more beyond that, just to really go across the map and mess up a mineral line.
Yeah, the Oracle moves out, so the Lings do spot the Oracle immediately, and it looks like MaNa is more concerned with expanding and keeping this third safe and sound than he is with harassing across the map, as it looks like the Void Ray finds a second Overlord. So far a pretty value Void Ray. There we go. Oh my god. Supply blocking DRG quite heavily. Oh.
That is huge. That's going to take one more Overlord to get out of the supply block and two more before he can really start to build any more units.
Yeah, that forced DRG to make 5 Overlords, which is pretty insane, especially at this level of play, so really catching DongRaeGu off guard there. Meanwhile, we do see finally MaNa moving out to harass. We have 2 Adepts here at the natural base of DRG, but they're not going to be able to get too much done here, not too much target firing, but the Oracles, they get the damage.
Oh yeah, the Oracles are just a distraction for the Adepts, and it looks like MaNa is looking to follow that up with some glaives. Very interesting build coming out. It's actually getting a whole lot more gates. I was going to say he's going 6 gate, but no. He is going 8 gate glaive.
I haven't seen this in a long time. It's been a good couple of months. It's been like...
For good reason.
Yeah, it's been like, I think over half a year since I've seen 8 gate glaive Adepts. But on top of that, I typically see 8 gate glaive Adepts off of 2 bases. We have a third here, which means this isn't Giga all in like it usually is. Still very unexpected though, and very committed, just because we don't really have much tech behind this. We don't have accessibility into a Robo, into Immortals, into Disruptors, into anything to deny a counterattack once the Adepts do get cleaned up, if they get cleaned up.
Yeah, the Stargate is nice, but having only a single Stargate without a fleet beacon does limit you somewhat when it comes to your unit options. On the flip side of things, DRG is getting tech. He is about to finish up an infestation pit. Hive shouldn't take too long to complete after that. I actually just realized this is a 6-minute infestation pit coming out from DRG.
Oh, is he gonna go Swarm Host? I wouldn't be opposed to that, as the Adepts do rock on up. So far, the wall is a wall. DRG very quick to fully wall off, buy time for his Roaches as they come out one after another. The Adepts, they still haven't dealt any damage. We see a second Queen going down, and the Adepts are getting into the main.
Yeah, a lot of them do shade on into that main base, but I fear that MaNa may have split off one too many Adepts here. These Roaches don't find much difficulty cleaning these out.
Yeah, and this is when I start to worry, because once the Adepts get cleaned up, which they just were, we can see a counterattack, and what a counterattack. Oh my god, we have Swarm Hosts in production, and they're very underutilized in current meta. Swarm Hosts, they can do quite well harassing across the map, and honestly, DRG doesn't have much to worry about. These Adepts, for the most part, they've been dealt with.
Yeah, I was going to say, Locusts aren't exactly the best unit that you want against Adepts. Then I realized that MaNa barely has any Adepts left. He is transitioning now into Stalkers, which is still decent if he can get them in a good enough position. He can try to snipe the Swarm Hosts, or maybe even shoot a couple of Locusts before they land. But I'm not convinced, personally.
Yeah, we really need splash damage to deal with Locust waves, and it looks like we're not seeing a Nidus variant. Instead, DRG, he's just going to reinforce the front lines with these Swarm Hosts, and he's just going to lay siege upon the third base. And this is finally going to get scouted and confirmed by the Oracles, but it may just be too late.
Yeah, who needs a Nidus, says DRG, when you have a creep highway going all the way across the map into your opponent's base. The first wave of Locusts land, and we can see without any splash damage and without that many Adepts, Zerg really doesn't have much trouble breaking on through.
Yeah, those Locusts, they had such high DPS. They even powered through that overcharge as well. It was insane. But MaNa is able to hold against the first wave. He doesn't lose too many, if any, workers. So far, a decent defense. What about the next wave, though? Those Swarm hosts, they're waiting for...
And we are back. We just witnessed how destructive locusts are, that they can, dip out the game and also destroy internets. And now we are coming back in, hopefully a little bit to more stable as we continue our best of 3 elimination match.
Yeah, here we go. So I do apologize for the stream going down. I do know that whenever that happens, unfortunately, did lose a lot of viewership as well. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But for those of you who did stick around, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Stream was just down for a couple of minutes, but hopefully we should have, clear sailings from here on out.
Yeah, those of you who did stick around, you get to see the secret ending.
Oh, what's that?
It's a secret.
Oh my god. I also want to give a special shout out as well to Yaku. I don't know if anyone's actually pointed it out yet. But Yaku did
and it is cut off in this
yeah,
what you call it.
I mean, even if it isn't, I still don't fully understand what's going on. But he made his own rendition of my background here of the planets, Papi, of the planets. Oh.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
See one of them here. It's a green. I think it's actually off screen because it's cut out for the thingy.
It is cut off.
There's this,
there's
this white one.
Yeah. That's kind of like this planet here for me. Like it's yeah. It's there. Emperor Fuble, Marines aren't going to massage themselves. Oh, let me massage you, Papi. Let's go. As we are going to get ready for game number 2. As you were saying, DongRaeGu was flaunting his skills, flaunting his Swarm host play against MaNa in game number 1. How are things going to come together and transpire here in game numero 2?
Yeah, it should be a little bit longer, coming into data under the sea this time.
Yeah, quite one of those maps, one of the more standard maps here where we can get longer play. Also, I imagine MaNa is going to be a little bit more on the lookout for something like Swarm hosts. That's not going to do him dirty 2 games in a row.
Yeah, a lot more visual this time. Probably not going to go 8-8 glaive, but we'll see. It's still possible as we continue our best of 3 elimination match here on data under the sea. We're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in that bottom left-hand corner. We have our red Protoss player coming out for the land of Poland, repping the correct colors. We have, representing Team Liquid, the banana himself. Give it up for MaNa.
Oh, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of data under the sea, we have his opponent, the South Korean Zerg player, currently up 1-0 in this best of 3 series, representing Team NV. It is DongRaeGu.
Oh.
The one true Dong is here. The one true Dong is back, and he's not looking too bad whatsoever so far in this series. We do see MaNa just being a little bit cheeky, just trying to slip on in, get a bit of a scout here with his probe. Did force the unnatural natural.
Yeah, that could definitely come into play quite a bit, especially if MaNa decides once again to go into a depths. But, as you were saying, if he does, it's probably going to be in a very different fashion, as game number 1, maybe he'll get them a little bit quicker, but not be as committed. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the openers here. Again, MaNa did do something very out of the norm in the previous game. Even here, we do see kind of a greedy opener. Oh, I say greedy opener. It was just, a gate expand, focusing on his overall Nexus production. He's going to be delaying his wall that much more. But yeah, we are going to be seeing relatively economic openers here.
Which makes sense. Again, it's a little bit more difficult to really be aggressive on Data C, even at the start of the game when there aren't that many defenses out. That rush path still sneaks around. Still takes a little bit of time.
It does. And we do have a pair of lings coming out here from DRG. Oh, he's actually making 6 lings, more than we are accustomed to. So we'll see what he can manage to get done with this. I mean, the first adept is already going to be on the way. I'm curious if DRG is going to try and maybe hide the lings in the tall grass in the middle of the map and maybe try to catch the adept. For the time being, oh, he actually misses the probe. He was trying to hunt it down, but he just got juked. Oh.
Yeah. This probe deserves a promotion.
Oh yeah, the probe was able to survive. We see 4 more lings here on the right-hand side. Again, looking to actually take control of the zone Nagas here. So just getting a little bit of map control. Just trying to figure out if there are any proxies being set up or anything like that.
It's just always something you want to do early on when you're ahead in the series, especially against a Protoss player. Now, MaNa doesn't really have that much of a reputation for being a cheesy player, but he doesn't hesitate to throw it out if he thinks he's guaranteed a victory.
Yeah, especially after game number 1. DRG is just a little bit paranoid. And we can see here, at least in the main base, MaNa is opening up just like he did in game number 1. It's very offbeat, it's very off meta, something that a lot of players don't do anymore, but he's going for the Void Ray first.
Will he commit the no, as an Oracle was already queued up? And we should be seeing another double Oracle style coming out from MaNa this time.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I was gonna say, we were talking a lot about how, MaNa, we shouldn't be seeing another 8-gate glaive coming up from him this time, but actually, 8-gate glaive can be pretty effective. He was messed up quite a bit by sort of the build that DRG was going for, so maybe in game number 2, he might decide, okay, he's not gonna go for the same thing. Maybe if I commit, it'll actually work out better.
It's honestly quite possible, and I wouldn't fault MaNa for trying it 2 games in a row. If at first you don't succeed, try again, and then maybe you'll still fail. We'll see. As for the time being, it does look like the exact same build, but oh, here we go. The diversion point has been shown. What is this? Is Zest playing again? Is this back in 2020? Because we have a fleet beacon and a second Stargate.
Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready for the Void Ray commitment coming out.
Oh boy. I should have said 2021, to be honest, back in the peak of Void Ray meta. But I don't think it's going to be a Void Ray, otherwise we would already see one in production. We are waiting for the Fleet Beacon. We are waiting to go straight into either Carriers or Tempests.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping for Tempest, personally. It's a pretty cool way of just sort of sniping key tech early on, but yeah, I do think that carriers are a much more versatile and much more safer option, which is exactly why MaNa is going for them.
He's an animal. Something that you don't see too often anymore, but can work. So he's going straight into carrier production. His third base is relatively safe here with these adepts, with the shield battery, with the oracles and the void rays. DRG hasn't really been able to be too aggressive here. He's going into +1 melee, so he's going to be set up here to deal quite a lot of damage with these things. He's going to be able to pick off even one of these adepts. So nicely done.
Yeah, here's a bit of a concern though, like, DRG is continuing to be aggressive, or at least continuing to be active on the map with his Zerglings. So far, he has not scouted the fleet beacon or Stargates. But if these carriers reveal themselves a little bit too soon, I think that DRG definitely has time to prepare for them. I mean, he has a lair, and he hasn't committed to a tech structure just yet.
And here we go, the Banelings are rolling on in. The carriers have been revealed. Regardless, though, the Banelings are going to connect with that shield battery. At the same time, Lynx try to get into the natural, but the wall is a wall. DRG is finally aware of what is happening, and what is his response going to be? Right now, he's just making as many queens as he can to defend against the counterattack, but we should be seeing either a Spire or a Hydroden.
But queens have range, Copium. No. Nah, I'm definitely with you there. Like, I find it a little bit questionable that DRG seems to be prioritizing his Zergling upgrades for the time being. I can kind of follow the logic in this. You know, carriers are good, but they're not as fast as Zerglings. So maybe DRG wants to go for some big counterattacks, but he still has to contest with these carriers.
Oh, but speaking of the two carriers that show up across the map, and they are a little bit slow to respond. One of them almost goes down, takes a lot of hits, but it looks like MaNa is barely able to pull back in time.
Yeah, just barely, not enough queens to really take it out. But a second later, or one more queen, I think we would have a very different game on our hands.
He really would. Meanwhile, the Ling Flood does not stop. There we go. The tech of choice is going to be a Spire. We delayed the Spire, but that's okay because we needed queens first and foremost to defend against the first push. Now we can think about a bit of a later game. DRG has done a great job at delaying the fourth, and it looks like he's going to go and try again.
I was joking about how good queens were, but apparently they are that good. At least our carriers are in low numbers.
Yeah. Like low number carriers, like queens, they play their part. They play their part. They can even do decently well later on, especially when it comes to transfusing corruptors, because corruptors are quite beefy. So every transfuse is basically one additional corruptor, so that can really impact the game itself. But MaNa has now been able to get away with his fourth base. The carrier count is getting critical. It is getting out of control, and DRG has to look for a bit of a later game.
Yeah, Infestation Pit has been thrown down. And yeah, it looks like DRG is more than willing to get into that late game, willing to wait for Hive and to get a couple of Vipers out before really committing to any big engagements. For now, both the players are content to just spread out on their respective sides of the map and take whatever bases they can get.
Yeah, they will be looking to do that, but here we go. Another bathing run by is slipping into the into the third base here of MaNa. There's nowhere to go. The Banelings get some decent connections, and 9 probes go down.
Yeah, definitely could have been a lot worse, but it's still a bit of a rough loss here. DRG has almost 20 more workers than MaNa, and he is making full use of them.
He really is. DRG, there we go. We finally have Corruptors on the way. Lings to support Banelings as well. We already have +2 melee, so Banelings one-shot workers. And the goal here for DRG is to try and harass MaNa and keep the economy low and keep him, trying to focus on recovering that, less so on maxing out on carriers and pushing.
Yeah, he wants to force MaNa into a situation where he can survive but not thrive.
Exactly. It's the purpose, the goal here of all these Lings. Meanwhile, we have a Hive on the way. It's about to finish up, so DRG can get into Viper production. Vipers are going to be the key unit as well to help deal with these carriers when it comes to abducts, and even parasitic bombs can work out as well. But MaNa's done a great job at supporting this army. A lot of players do kind of neglect the ground army for a little bit longer, but instead MaNa has gone into these Archons quite quickly.
Yeah, and just looking at the supplies, MaNa is not too far behind when it comes to actually both the worker and the army supply. I was mostly impressed by the army supply. The one thing that I think is missing here, but I guess it's more of a stylistic thing rather than a really important thing, is Void Rays. Void Rays with with Flux Veins and with their prismatic alignments can absolutely shred through Corruptors, but like I said, it is more of a stylistic thing. Some players prefer to mix it in, others prefer utilizing Archons and High Templar.
Yeah, there's a place for both here in this kind of perfected Protoss army that we're still working towards. Meanwhile, DongRaeGu, I don't believe he hasn't made a single Viper yet. This is very bold of him. He's actually using the Hive for upgrades, and he actually started an Ultra Cavern. And to be fair, Ultras are a way to help deal with these Archons.
They really are. They just want to hug everything that they can. Corruptors dip on in. They target fire 2 carriers, but do get a little bit distracted. And the Archons are making a little bit of headway.
Oh, they really are. Here we go. The Protoss army is pushing through the middle of the map. There's nothing really to stop him for the time being. DRG, he's waiting for those Ultras. Unfortunately, once the Ultras pop out, they will not have kindness waiting. Yeah,
they're going to be very, very squishy. Very, very squishy Ultras, which this amount of Archons can absolutely deal with. DRG is so far in the back foot. A lot of Queens are going down, but he's going for a full surround on the ground army, attacking the carriers as the Archons are a little bit distracted. A lot of carriers have gone down. I think, yeah, the carrier count has just about been halved. But what about the Archons? Apparently, the Ultralists are good enough to deal with them. DRG crushes this army.
Yeah, oh my god, I think the lack of upgrades for the ground forces of MaNa really showing off there. The Ultras able to take down every single one of those Archons, and DRG decimates MaNa's army. He is up almost double the supply, and he's pushing out across the map.
My brain honestly still can't comprehend that. You see that many Archons, you see that the Ultralists don't have chitinous plating, you think, all right, the Ultras are dead, but yeah, I neglected, or I forgot to look at the upgrades of MaNa and the other upgrades of DRG. Yeah. DRG, throughout that fight, was on 2-2. MaNa only had +1 weapons. As squishy as the Ultras were, the Archons were still very squishy.
Yeah, they didn't have shields, they didn't have armor either, so that was kind of best case scenario for DRG. Meanwhile, here we go with a maxed out army. He's pushing on in once again. Now he finally does have chitinous plating. Now these Ultras are that much more tanky.
They are hugging everything they can get their hands on. They've been fighting through and overpowering the battery overcharge, and they are not stopping. GG is called, and DRG will take that series 2-0. The Dong has beaten the banana. Maybe even eaten it.
Yeah, GG, well played. The Dong is going to be eating good tonight as he does take down MaNa 2-0 and moves on to that decider match where we will have another PvZ.
All right, yeah. It doesn't end. Well, it's going to end after this, but yeah, we're getting another PvZ just to conclude things. Commiserations to MaNa. Guess we found out how he... I guess we found out how he did get eliminated from DreamHack Atlanta, and it does also mean that DRG will not actually be eliminated in the group stage. You know, either DRG or Estrella, one of them got seeded to the round of 16. The other got seeded into the round of 20, but I've forgotten which one it was, and I hope you viewers have as well.
Yeah, and again, like, I really appreciate how MaNa played this out, just because it was quite refreshing. MaNa played very, very differently this entire series. Game 1 going into the AK Glaive Adepts, game number 2 going into Double Stargate Carrier Production. Something you don't see too often at the highest level of play anymore, just because the meta has kind of shifted over time. So it was cool to see him just whip him out again. It was very refreshing. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to take down DRG. DRG with very decisive play there. And I know Estrella wouldn't have been able to watch this unless, I guess, he tuned into one of the other language streams like Indie or something like that. But even then, I'm sure he was busy with his own series. So yeah, Estrella versus DongRaeGu, not a bad matchup at all.
Not at all. I thought I was going to see, so I wasn't. Yeah, not at all. This is, I think, going to be a very different PvZ from what we've seen so far. Yeah, a very different PvZ from what we've seen so far. I don't think Estrella is going to go into the series the same way he went into a series against Scarlet, and likewise, I think DRG might be, I don't know, I think DRG might be a little bit more cheeky against Estrella than he was against MaNa.
Yeah, I do think that both DongRaeGu and Estrella, they have these kind of tendencies to their playstyles. They can both be a little bit more cheeky and a little bit more out of the norm. So yeah, I look forward to this quite a bit here, as looks like game number 1 is upon us, and game 1 is going to be on Data Under the Sea.
Oh.
And the other thing is as well, I maybe we have like a month left, but it was dawning
2023, yeah.
It was dawning upon me the other day that you know, we have a new map pool coming up on us soon, and I'm gonna miss being under the sea.
I will as well, but at least we'll be in the sky or in dragons or something like that. I just remember it's a very fantasy inspired map pool, not the player, but you know, the genre. Anyway, we're getting into this series. It is the best of three decider, and we're kicking it off on data under the sea. We're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. Ah, the Little Mermaid song. I mean, we're not going to be able to use it for that much longer.
No.
In the bottom left-hand corner, we have a red Zerg player coming on from the land of Korea, representing Clan NV, or Clan Team NV. We have the one true Dong himself, previously known as DongRaeGu. He is DRG. DRG?
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Data Under the Sea, we have his opponent, the American Protoss player representing Alpha X. It is Estrella. Show you the world.
Shining Kuna Matata.
That's not how this. What are you doing? Oh my god! I'm trying to think of other Disney songs. And I'm drawing blanks, Yaku. I'm drawing blanks.
Till as old as time.
Oh god.
You're welcome.
That's a newer
For
one. That's a new one.
everything
Yeah,
in the world.
I haven't watched that movie. I haven't watched
Neither have
MaNa. Yeah.
Neither have I, but I've heard Milk sing it enough times,
What's
so I
the-
think I grasp the lyrics.
What's the Frozen one?
Uh,
MC
I
sang it.
feel like that's the most. I feel like it's the most iconic one, but I'm drawing blank.
It's
wait,
it's let it go.
Let it go. Yeah. It's like, do you want to build a snowman? It goes like that. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll let it go.
Yeah, I also have not watched Frozen either.
I've seen the first one.
There you go. The last Disney movie I watched was Emperor's New Groove. No, I watched Wreck-It Ralph, but I don't think there were any songs in Wreck-It Ralph. It was very un-Disney.
I haven't seen Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh good. As we do see Estrella abusing this position here, this has become quite popular. I don't know if you just noticed, but there is that ledge over the triangular thread that you can shoot down upon, but he doesn't commit here as we do have a StarCraft game upon us.
All right.
Oh my god.
That's what we're doing.
It is what we are doing, and we see Estrella going for a Stargate opener, very MaNa-esque here, going for a Void Ray first.
Yeah. Just once again trying to keep DRG in the dark as much as possible. Much like in Frozen, but
Yzma. Oh,
that's the wrong lever.
Oh god.
Everything went downhill after Emperor's New Groove.
literally went downhill, and figuratively. As we do see, yeah, this Void Ray getting a lot of damage here. Two Overlords are gonna get picked off, supply blocking DRG quite a bit, so not too bad whatsoever. Behind this, we see Estrella transitioning not into a fleet beacon and a second Stargate as we saw MaNa do. Instead, ground toss.
Yeah. A very 2021 or maybe even 2022 way of going about your Void Ray opening, transitioning into, well, with the Forge, I feel like it could go either Soul Train or Pseudo Soul Train, or it could go into Disruptors.
Yeah, and here we have our answer. This is also why it's really difficult to read as a Zerg player, because all the gases have been taken, but this is not going to be Blink. This is going to be Charge instead. We saw the Archon Charge Lot build actually on this very map. Estrella tried to pull this off against Scarlet, but wasn't able to get a kill in that lair. We'll see if he can pull it off with a little bit more success here against DongRaeGu.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a pretty good way of dealing with a player who does like to be as aggressive as DongRaeGu, as that void ray takes quite a bit of hull damage.
A lot of damage is taken. DRG already taking down the rocks in the middle of the map as well, setting up to apply some pressure as the game progresses. He did just send out a wave of drones, and I expect him to be taking a 4th base soon. We'll see what he spends his lava on after these overlords. As if you make this many overlords, I feel like he wants to make, roaches.
And that's a lot of them on the way. It looks like DRG is playing fairly similar to how he played in game number 1 against MaNa. He's getting a much quicker infestation pit, and I would not be surprised if he tries to whip out the Locust once again.
Yeah, Swarm Host should be upon us soon, but before that happens, Estrella, the Gateway Explosion, has just finished up, and the Prism is slipping into the main base of DRG.
Like so.
It's out of vision!
It is out of vision. That's crucial right now. It's a very similar tactic that he used against Scarlet, but I think this is going to hit much, much harder. The Queens, the Roaches are not in position. Okay, the Roaches are coming in here to meet the army of Estrella, and they will be able to clean this out, but not before quite a bit of damage is being dealt, actually.
Oh my god, the target firing 10 drones go down. They came back a couple seconds too soon. DRG, a little bit too trigger happy there with his workers, gets punished for it. And after that's said and done, Estrella takes a bit of a worker lead, but the creep highway is real and the swarm hosts are on the way.
Indeed, they are. The RG really going to be looking to reciprocate that damage, and honestly, with Swarm Hosts and with the fact that he's going to be able to get across the map so quickly, I think he should get a little bit of damage. I mean, the Void Ray is definitely going to be something that he has to contend with. But it shouldn't be too bad. I mean, Archons as well are, as long as they're able to shoot the Locust as they're still in the sky, they have a lot of splash damage potential.
Yeah, like, I do like the Archons here. The Stasis Trap as well is going to be very, very important in the defense. We'll see how the first wave comes out. I don't actually think Estrella got confirmation of the Swarm Host, but no, okay, now he does have eyes on them.
Like so.
Yeah, the first...
He forced to launch a couple bit preemptively.
The Disruptor gets pounced upon here. It does take a little bit of damage. There we go. The Stage Trap is going to go off at the same time across the map. We have a little bit of a Zealot counterattack with this Prism. DRG has eyes on everything, though, and this creep is suffocating.
Yeah, I mean, it's already across the map, and we're not even in the 10-minute mark. I mean, we were praising Scarlet a lot for her creep spread in the previous series, but I think this is one step beyond that a little bit. Well, it's one step beyond that diagonally. It hasn't really spread out vertically or
here we go,
horizontally.
we get a massive Locust wave into the main base. He targets out the Nexus, and the Nexus goes down immediately.
Huge pickoff here for DRG. Estrella's going to try to rebuild that, and in fairness, he does still have... He hasn't lost any probes to that, and he does have his other mining bases, but yeah, this sets him back quite a bit. This is what I wanted from DRG's Locust. He is starting to take out production and tech.
Yeah, and now Estrella's forced all in. He's going for a massive counterattack right now, but the Locusts, they're coming from behind.
I very much appreciate that DRG split up his Locust waves. He wasn't firing all of his Swarm Hosts at once. He was doing it half and half, which does still provide him a lot of DPS and does allow him to be a little bit more regular with his Locust waves.
It really does. Meanwhile, a massive Purification Nova just went off on a lot of Roaches, so Estrella getting a lot of value here out of his army. He has to be careful not to be caught out, though. He's clearing out a lot of creep, but he is dead in the middle of creep right now. DRG is looking for another surround.
And he could get it, but he doesn't really have the supply to take advantage of his position. This Disruptor dips in, throws out Purification Nova, and takes out a quarter of the Swarm Host. DRG is starting to meet this with his main army, though, but it's not quite going to be enough. Despite landing a couple of biles, there's just too much DPS here for Estrella.
Yeah, and Estrella did really well. He took a really big risk going as deep into creep as he did, but he cleared up the majority of the creep tumors. And now DRG, he's having a really hard time replacing all of this. So Estrella, he's looking more and more comfortable as the game goes on, despite the supply disadvantage.
Yeah, DRG trying once again to pop off another Locust Wave, but Estrella catches this right here, right now. And I don't think DRG is gonna make Swarm Host work for the rest of this game. He's rebuilding them, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Which I kind of get. I mean, he's already invested in them, but I don't know how much his investment is gonna pay off.
We got another Nova gonna be going off as well. The second one does get denied. Nice target firing there by DRG. Gonna be able to get a kill on that Disruptor. Meanwhile, here we go. He's going for the kill move. There are no more Disruptors. There are no more Purification Novas remaining.
And DRG is relentless with his moves out. He gets right on top of the Protoss army, and you know, with those Archons and those Immortals being taken out earlier on, it's mostly just Stalkers. And they can't really deal with this amount of Roaches and this amount of Ravagers.
Yeah, just Stalkers on their own are not going to be enough here to defend. We have Lings reinforcing, flooding across the map. The Biles are connecting, if not on the Stalkers, then they're connecting with those probes. And we have another Locust Wave coming in. The reinforcing Swarm Hosts coming in.
Yeah, these Locusts a little bit delayed, but they do get there in the end. A lot of Lings are making their way across the map. These two Locusts, they're gonna expire before they land.
They do end up expiring here in the end. It looks like Estrella is going to be able to barely hold on to his third base, but look at the supply here. He lost a lot of workers, he lost a lot of supply, and DRG is not looking to give him too much breathing room.
Yeah, he is absolutely relentless. Once again, remaxing on Roaches and making his way across the map.
Exactly, there we go, another Locust Wave as well. We have Queens for some anti-air support, even though we have that one Void Ray. The Queens are going to be able to clean that up as well. And even though this isn't a very efficient fight, it's not an efficient trade, DRG, he doesn't care, mate. He's still going to be able to break through anyway.
Yeah, who needs an efficient fight when the supply is that much in your favor? Well, we'll see. As Estrella is banking up a couple of units. Now, he will lose this third base, and it was a fairly fresh base, so it was important for him to be able to keep it. But he was able to sneak out +3. He's gathering a couple of Stalkers. Without those Locusts here to act as a bit of a buffer, DRG finds himself on the back foot.
Yeah, exactly. He has to respect this. He has to back off before he overextends and bleeds out a little bit too much. DRG, like, it's not like he has an amazing economy behind this. Like, he's pretty committed off of 65 drones. Like, it's pretty all in, to be honest. Like, he's not looking towards the future. But we have another Locust Wave into the main base. Oh my god, he just doesn't stop.
This time targeting down probes. Look at that supply difference. Estrella down almost half the supply of DRG.
Yeah, but a very nice catch here on the right-hand side. Estrella, he picks off every single Swarm Host. He catches them as they were trying to reload and send out another wave. Meanwhile, we have a recall as DRG is going for another counterattack, another run by here at the fort.
Yeah, the Purification Novas get a couple of units here and there, but yeah, this Disruptor is fully surrounded and will get taken out just like that. DRG content with the damage he's dealt. You know, he's keeping Estrella on 3 bases, now 2.5 bases, really.
Yeah, we just see a bit of a Zealot run by here across the map of the triangular third, and DRG is actually losing some drones. At the same time, he took another Nova to the face, so he's actually having a hard time cleaning things up here. He's having a hard time gaining that momentum. Finally, he's going to be able to clean up those Zealots. Oh, and he actually gets on top of the Prism.
Yeah, that should delay any more harass coming his way. I just realized that DRG only now finishes up his Hive. I was wondering why he was at such an upgrade deficit, and that would be why. He's also getting a Lurker Den, which feels a little bit, it feels like it's a signal that DRG realizes that he's not going to be able to end the game just yet.
Yes and no, because I would like it if DRG just droned a little bit.
It'd be nice if he got a 5th base, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice if he got a 5th and even saturated his 4th, but like, he really wants the game to end, and because of that, he's just forcing himself more all in. now is not a bad time to drone. Now is not a bad time to focus on our economy. But because he keeps making more and more army, like, he's still giving Estrella a bit of a chance.
Yeah, a little bit of a chance, and obviously Estrella taking the lead when it comes to his tech does mean that he has a more sophisticated army for the time being. We'll see if these lurkers are able to shift things once again in DRG's favor, but he doesn't really have the economy to support lurker, and lurker army is the issue.
Yeah, I mean, he's working on upgrades at least, and he's working on Vipers, and to be fair, like, even if it's just Ling, Roach Ravager, Viper, I do think that DRG can dismantle this army, like Vipers, hard counter disruptors, and even Archons as well. So I do think that DRG still has a good enough army. He just has to be careful not to take too many bad fights, because the reality is that if he does take like maybe 2 bad fights in a row, like Estrella, he can fight back.
Yeah, it's one of those scenarios that we see quite a few times in StarCraft. DRG has the better army, but it's his only army.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Nova's going to be going off, and oh, it does connect. Oh my god.
Connect, actually, and that, just like that,
yeah.
I fear that that was the inefficiency that we were talking about. That was the efficient trait that Estrella really needed to get some momentum in this game and potentially end it. I mean, the supplies are looking pretty much even at this point, and Estrella still has a better army.
I know what I was saying, but even I didn't believe that it was going to happen, but Estrella, just like in the blink of an eye, DRG lost 80 supply. 80 supply just down the drain, and now he is on the back foot. Now Estrella has the army supply lead.
And he is winning with it. He nailed another Purification Nova. He's able to pretty much delete these lurkers. Okay, 2 lurkers still survive, and this is a very tight choke point. DRG will chase this army back, but it feels like Estrella just bought himself everything.
They are the great equalizer.
He bought himself the advantage, yeah.
Oh, those 2 lurkers you were talking about just went down to a Purification Nova as well. Aye. Viper gets sniped. DRG is bleeding out too much, and you were talking about it earlier. He does not have an economy. Like, he's straight up dying right now.
Wow, yeah, I mean, I still want to believe that somehow maybe DRG with these lurkers is going to be able to chase this back, but with that Purification Nova, I feel like that may have just been the final nail in the coffin. DRG, he's fighting the coffin. He's fighting to break free from that grave, but
he's like,
yeah,
I'm not dead. Don't bury me. I'm not dead. Yeah. And we're like, no, mate, you're dead. You just don't know it, puppy. Oh my god, I just can't believe it. I can't believe the comeback here from Estrella. GG gets called. Estrella takes game 1.
What a comeback here from Estrella. Multiple times he had a quarter or even a fifth of the supply of DRG, but he quality over quantity in the end of the game here, says Estrella. He had the much better army throughout the entirety of that game, and to be fair, I do feel like DRG tunnel visioned a lot that game.
Yeah.
He put himself behind by just not getting a 5th base and not joining up in the multiple opportunities where he could have done that. But yeah, that was an incredible comeback coming out here from Estrella. And I'm sure if you were Estrella playing this on that windy November afternoon, you would have just so much momentum behind you. If you were DRG, you would... I don't know. You'll be smoging, yeah.
I couldn't have put it better myself. I think the onus of that game was on DRG there. Like, as you were saying, there were multiple opportunities to drone, to transition, to focus on your economy. Like, he was doing such a great job harassing with his locust waves, you know, just pulling Estrella apart and just punishing that triangular third time and time and time again. He was doing great. And he chose not to make drones. He decided to just continue making army, to get upgrades, to make... He was teching, don't get us wrong, but he was still just forcing himself all in. And all it took was a really good engagement from Estrella. And to be fair, I didn't believe he could do it. And I'm sure DRG didn't think so either. I'm sure he was like this. Like, I know that Estrella, if he had the perfect fight, he could still win. He's not gonna get a perfect fight against me. Nah, mate.
This is some, yeah, this is some anime protagonist shit coming
it
down
is.
in this
It
year.
is.
Oh man!
Oh my god, the Deus Ex Machina out of nowhere. 3 disruptors come in and get 3 beautiful Novas, and then that's it. Oh my god. Okay. Boy. So hopefully DRG can recover mentally, because I'm sure he's aware how far ahead he was that game.
Yeah. And again, you know, getting to the decider match does mean that DRG it wouldn't be eliminated. I mean, that's just how the format works here in DreamHack. But regardless, you would want to be. No player comes into the group stage wanting to be the player who, you know, is seeded into the round of 20, having to deal with, you know, the degens that come out from the knockout bracket.
Exactly. You want to be in the best position possible here in these major events, and oh boy, we'll see who it's going to be here. We'll see if our Zerg player can recover mentally from what just happened in game number 1. Meanwhile, as you were saying, I'm sure our Protoss player is over the moon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's grinning ear to ear, or at least I imagine he is.
Yeah.
Which is very easy to imagine. Anyway, we are going to be jumping straight on into Inside and Out, where in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea, representing Clan Team NV. He is one true Dong himself, DongRaeGu. DRG.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Inside and Out, the man who just refuses to die. It's the American Protoss player representing Alpha X. It is Estrella.
I myself need to recover a little bit from just how tremendous of a comeback that was from Estrella and Data C.
Yeah, it was things were looking real dire for Estrella, but he never gave up. He believed that anything would be possible with the power of the disruptor, and he was not wrong. He is not wrong.
Yeah.
There is always a chance to bring it all back. So yeah, he was able to bring himself back from the brink of defeat, and now we're getting into game número 2.
Indeed. I'll see what we have in store here. Now, Inside and Out, not a bad map for aggression. We saw that DRG was completely willing to throw out even a 13 pool against Scarlet. This time, he is opting for something a little bit safer, more of a hatch gas pool. Estrella, meanwhile, opening up pretty standard and economic once again with a gate expand.
Yeah, just going for his gate expand as we would expect. He forced the unnatural natural out of DongRaeGu. So nothing too out of the norm for the time being. Except DRG did make 6 lings. I believe he did this in game number 1 as well. I believe he did this against MaNa. It is a little bit of an overinvestment, but it's just a way to get map control and more importantly get vision, as Estrella is switching gears entirely. He's going for a robo opener.
Oh no. Or maybe oh yes. We'll see what comes into play. When I see a robo opener nowadays, all I can think of is disruptor drops. Not gonna lie, like the Soul Train has unfortunately fallen out of favor quite a bit, but yeah, either way, it is still very potent coming out from the Protoss player. It is still a way for the Protoss player to be active and potentially even aggressive.
Yeah, but actually, so he goes for a robo opener and he had a probe ready to throw down some buildings. I was like, okay, show us the bay, show us the bay. He throws down 2 more gates. He's going for 4 gate aggression here. So there's going to be no upgrades. These are going to be vanilla stalkers, and I assume they're going to be stalkers, as we do have some gas being mined, maybe even adepts. But essentially, they will have blink due to the prism.
Yeah, a little bit of a wonky a little bit of a wonky kind of unit composition, but one that can absolutely be punishing in the early game. That's a 5th and 6th and a 7th gate being thrown down by Estrella. He is Terra all in.
He's Exodia all in right now. All 5 cards are in his hand, and he's just gonna send it, puppy. He's pulled out of gas, and he is going for an immortal slow lot all in. There is no charge, there is no gas. They're just gonna be slow zealots, but they're gonna look fast with how quickly they kill DongRaeGu.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
We do have a Banelin S on the way. It's about halfway done. But, you know, no matter how slow lots are, Banelings are quite a bit slower.
Yeah, and DRG has no idea that this is coming. He's only just now going in for a scout, but it's a little bit too late. The Zealots are already here. The Immortal as well. Only a single Immortal, bear that in mind. And this is an all-in build that has been rising popularity recently. Pez did it at PAX. He smudged Chappie with it. We've seen it. We've seen it in the ESL Open Cups as well. And here we go. The Lings, they are looking to try and get on top of this Immortal, but they run into the Zealots.
Yeah, a couple of Banelings do crash into the Zealots. Half of the Zealot force has been wiped out here for Estrella, but his backbone is still standing strong. His Immortal is still standing strong. And I think we should be seeing a couple of Stalkers warped in as well, just to really tie this all together.
Well, there's zero gas. There's zero gas mining right
true.
now. It's just pure Zealots, and the Banelings, they roll in once again, but the splits are just a little bit too good. The Queens, their backs are against the wall right now. They cannot kite back any further.
And I thought Estrella was meant to be the hero here. Instead, he is the villain, forcing DRG to smudge even harder than he did. He came number 1. GG, well played if I do say so myself. Estrella takes that series 2-0. Very nicely done. This sets up the villain arc for a good old Max Angel.
Oh my god, GG. He tore DRG apart there. That build, we've seen it on even some of the larger maps on Cosmic Sapphire. It's deadly, mate, just because it can be really difficult to scout. And if you don't see it coming, if you don't specifically have spines, if you don't give up your third base, if you don't have Banelings, like, you need so much to prepare for it. And if you do not, you can see what happens. You know, even though we saw some pretty good Baneling connections, the Zealots just didn't stop coming because there were just so many gates behind it.
Oh yeah. 7. I think he even threw out an 8th gate somewhere along the line. You don't need upgrades when you can just swarm your opponents.
Yeah, specifically because I remember some of the Protoss players were talking about this build. You don't need charge if your Zerg opponent is going to come to you anyway, you know? Like,
yeah.
if you have nothing but melee units, you have Lings and Banelings, like, they're going to come at you anyway. You don't need to rush towards them. And you're better off just, like, having a bit of a slower force to protect your Immortal as well, to focus down those Queens. And
yeah.
Yeah, it's a very deadly all-in, and with that, Estrella, he comes out second in his group. Congratulations.
Yes, he did directly into that round of 16, where he will be facing the winner of wait, what? Oh, sorry, yeah, my mistake. The winner of only the winner or the number 1 player from the group will make it out into, will be directly seeded into the round of 16. Estrella did end up getting seeded into the round of 20 instead, where he faced Lambo.
There you go. GG. Again, all of the playoff bracket was broadcasted live by all the streams, so we are not touching the main brackets. If you want to see coverage, it's all on YouTube. We actually casted some of it live ourselves. We were a part of that main broadcast, if you do recall. So yeah, that was all covered by the main stream, the B stream, the C stream, and the D stream at the time. But we have finally finished up this coverage, and I am glad we did. We got a lot of really good games here today.
That we did. It was a final group, and it really didn't disappoint.
Yeah, we got MaNa going Sky Toss. We got Estrella just being the villain that we all need.
Yep.
And just smudging DRG. We had Scarlet also smudging DRG with like a 15-minute best of 3 ZvZ. Like, DongRaeGu had a really hard time. Oh my god. Oh. Just want to hug him.
Yeah. And we know this was played back in November, but I think he still needs some love for that.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like, oh my god, feels bad, man. He's a nice guy. He doesn't deserve this.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But a massive shout out to, we just got a raid by Babylings. Fun fact, we were just about to raid you as we just finished our cast here today. For those who were not here, we casted a group with Scarlet, Estrella, DongRaeGu, and MaNa, and we had a lot of banger games. Oh.
We really did. Most importantly, the curse has been lifted. We can finally fly out from Atlanta.
No, not November.
We can go home.
November has finally ended. We have finally finished our DreamHack coverage. The replays are all done. For those of you who are tuning in right now, I recommend checking out the VODs because basically more than half of the games played at DreamHack Atlanta were not casted in English. They just weren't casted. So we took it upon ourselves to try and cast Group Stage 1, Group Stage 2, Group Stage 3, and the knockout bracket. At least these highlighted games that just weren't really broadcasted to too many people. Maybe they were covered by like other language streamers like Indie or Cosmos or even SC Boy, but we wanted to try and bring some English coverage to them.
Yeah, and I'm glad we did. You know, I wouldn't have had it any other way, really. I appreciate how they did it during the event itself to prevent too many delays, and I'm really glad that we were able to get in here and get a couple of those replay casts in the end.
Oh yeah, I do as well, and we were able to find a lot of gems hidden in the rough there. So I'm glad that we were able to do what we could, at least for DreamHack Atlanta. I'm glad we were able to finish this coverage before the patch, before the next patch, which would break replays. And we'll see if we can do it again, because now that we finished casting DreamHack, Home Story Cup replays are up next.
It's gonna be a long December. Well, I don't think it's gonna be as long as our DreamHack replay coverage here, as you know, there were just fewer games that weren't casted over there in Home Story Cup, but
there were more. The majority, likewise, the majority of games at Home Story Cup were not casted.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in terms of total games,
in terms
overall,
of quantity,
it's in terms of quantity, it's fewer. In terms of ratio, it's about the same.
Yes, you're not wrong. So we do have a lot of games to cover. I have already been filtering through them. I think there's like 20 matches or something like that. But we'll spread them out over the course. We'll spread it out over the course of the month. We'll have a couple of broadcast days here and there, and I'll have Asher on as well to help cover. I just have to find a nice way to format it and split it up, because there are 4 groups, and they're really big groups, and they're round robin.
Ooh.
So we can't do a group a day. We have to do like half a group a day or something. And that can kind of like mess up like some momentum for the casting, because we're not finishing a group on the same day. But I think that's what we're gonna have to resort to.
I'm just gonna say right now, I am not doing any math. It's bad enough doing math live, but doing like retroactive math, I refuse. I refuse. I'm gonna burn another calculator.
All good, Pappy, all good. With that, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much for the support. Yaku.
Yes.
Stream?
I actually kind of decided I think I do want to stream my placements over the Lunar New Year break that I'll be getting about 2 weeks from now. So, that should also give me enough time to figure out how the new OBS works. So maybe stay tuned for that over at twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1. Stay tuned to my Twitter account as well, because this yeah, stay tuned to my Twitter account as well, twitch.tv at Empora Yakuzaku. I'm going to try to sneak out the promoting to Twitch while I can. Apart from that, exclamation mark Discord. And the chat will bring you to the CranKy Ducklings Discord server. I'm there. Kuro is there. Baby Links, who just rated us, is there. Light is also there. But where else are you, Light?
I'm also on my own Twitch channel, Light_VIP. I was streaming earlier this morning, and I'll be having another ladder stream tomorrow as well. If you're interested in watching me smooge on the ladder, then check me out there. I got you covered. I got you covered.
Now here's my question. Will we get a special guest on your stream?
Hey.
Aww.
What do you mean?
Since Oreo's around.
I know Oreo is around, and we did just have Korean barbecue, and it was really good. It was really good. We had Korean barbecue, and we had Korean fried chicken as well. We doubled down.
Oh.
For those who don't know, I actually met up with Oreo and Starduck today, this afternoon. That's also why I'm a little bit tired, because I spent the entire afternoon walking around the city.
Ate so much.
Yeah, we did eat a lot, actually. So we had a great time. We took some photos. We can post the photos in our Discord if you're interested in that sort of stuff. And I would have loved to have brought... Oreo was asking me, he's like, hey, do you think I can come over and maybe we can like stream together or something? And that would have been great, but I live really far away, and Oreo's on a really tight schedule. He's actually leaving tomorrow morning. Like, he's only here for 2 days. So he doesn't have the most time available to him, and he had other plans this evening as well.
This is why tomorrow you should just drive out with your laptop to the train station.
True.
I assuming he's taking the train. It could be a plane.
There you go. Yeah, that's the plan. Oh god. But yeah, it was really great to meet up with Oreo and to meet I met Starduck for the first time. I'd never met him in person, and we had a really good time. Starduck's surprisingly tall. He's not as tall as Chappie. Chappie is the tallest person in the world. But Starduck, he's quite up there. Yeah. Pretty high up there. Yeah.
We can assure you, he's not as much of a degen IRL as he is.
Oh no, he is.
Okay.
I'll just leave it at that. But shaking my head, Starduck, shaking my head. Oh god. But yeah, if you're interested in our casting, our next broadcast I think is going to be on Sunday with ESL Open Cup Asia. I believe that's going to be our next broadcast. But keep an eye on our social media for when we next go live, because we will be posting Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. We're all over the place. All of our VODs are uploaded to YouTube. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you again. There may be a special stream on Friday.
Ooh. So tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow. I was talking to Asher. We may have another team game stream.
Ooh. Let's try to get as many people as we can on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, stay tuned for that. If you want to request a few strategies.
There you go. You can make us be animals. You can make us play like animals tomorrow, mate. Aye. But with that, thank you so much everyone for watching. Thank you so much for the support. Yaku, do you have anything you want to say before we head off for the night?
Hashtag DreamHack. Never ends.
Hashtag DreamHack. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And until then, enjoy yourselves. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bella.
so sad that I wasn't able. Okay, system, which is fine. I wasn't able to actually get it up, which is sad. Good, they